Tea time.
Hold on, I'm gonna press record.
You ain't even recording yet? Yo.
Welcome to the Cosmic Embassy podcast number one.
Number one.
I waited for you. I did.
You did. I'm honored. Got the crystals. Got the tea. What are we drinking, my man?
So what we have here
Is a failure to communicate. Some man you just can't reach.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. No, we're calling it the T-Adian.
Oh.
The T-Adian.
At ECETI.
At ECETI.
Nice.
Yesterday we were serving the ECETI. And this one is, I think it's got a little lavender, little lemon balm, and
this is going to chill us out.
some mint. Yeah. All picked from the land.
Ooh.
So, yo,
dig it.
everybody. This is Joseph Irwin Aladriel with the Cosmic Embassy, and I'm here with Jordan Sather. We're at ECETI Ranch. We just had an amazing 4th of July weekend, right?
Incredible 4th
You
of
feeling
July
good?
weekend.
I think I should move this up for you.
I'm feeling fantastic. Good.
Yeah, so we just had such a great last couple days. Like, I've been having so much fun with all the Disclosure family, hanging out with Rob and Ben and you, and got to hang out with Corey a little bit, and all the new people that I don't really know that well, but, you know, there's always brilliant people coming forth that aren't on the radar yet, which is great. So it's cool when we come together and we get to see all these amazing people.
Yeah, man, it's been incredible out here. The energy, you know, the first day I was here, it just hit me. And I felt totally discombobulated. I was like, man, I didn't know how to handle it. I felt like I had to leave. I was getting stir crazy. And I think I was just detoxing, spiritually detoxing.
Totally.
Probably physically detoxing too. So,
Yeah,
no, I got over that. And then it's been great the past 3 days.
it's so great.
Lots of craft in the sky. Meeting people too. It's great.
And then you had your talk yesterday, which is great. That was actually one of the only talks I've sat in on the entire
Oh, I appreciate
your
that.
entire time.
Appreciate that. Which is good. Yeah, we went into a lot of hardcore stuff.
It was
man.
good. And actually, I'm so happy we're having this conversation over tea. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
I'm so happy we're having this conversation over tea because I had been meaning to talk to you about Tom DeLonge and all that stuff and we won't go too deep into it, but I put out some videos a couple months ago that actually went pretty well. They got a lot of views, and it was just a review of his books. And, you know, like, I'm totally on the full disclosure side of the equation, but I read through all the books because I was curious, you know, what is the propaganda, you know, if it is a limited disclosure, as Corey and everyone's saying, like, what are they actually trying to push us into, you know, where are they leading us? And there was a lot of propaganda in it, of course. But I think one of the most fascinating, feel free to self-pour.
Oh, most definitely.
It's a little bit heavy. But I thought one of the most interesting things was actually how much they did reveal, bro. And I know these books better than almost anyone because I read them like 3 times back and forth to like really get all the little nooks and crannies.
That's good that you read them, and I've heard there's some pretty deep stuff in there. But again, you know, the best controlled opposition is 90% truth and 10% untruth. So it's you know, they could be telling us some mind-blowing stuff, but that's how they're gonna sell it to the public, and then they're gonna twist us with a little bit. And actually, what I've been noticing, and this is what I think might be the most, what could we say, the crux of what they're really trying to do, the most hidden of their agendas, is insert their gatekeepers. You know, insert the people who are pro Tom DeLonge, pro TTSA, et cetera, and then what these particular journalists or authors or these gatekeepers do is then undermine topics over here that are also disclosure oriented, just not about UFOs.
Exactly.
So what I'm seeing a lot of these sort of journalists say right now, these pro Tom DeLonge, pro mainstream UFO disclosures do, is that they're saying, oh, conspiracy theorists are vindicated. Yeah, all of us crazy UFO believing conspiracy
I'll
theorists
get under this banner.
Yeah, we're all vindicated. And then they'll turn around and go, oh, but things like Pizzagate and things like that are still conspiracy theories. QAnon is fake.
So that's really key. So I can bring this in more than almost anybody in the whole world, right? Because the second book, get this, there's a passage in the second book where it's like, it's a pretty good book. There's tons of disclosures. It was well written, blah, 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 blah. I could see the propaganda. But the thing that was like, I almost cringed to death, bro, is there's this part like at the end of the book where this woman's talking to this man. And they're talking about how, like, these people don't have nations or states, like this like international bankers and control, which is true. Like, they don't care. They don't, they're not assigned to a nation. They're international, and they actually reveal secret space programs and that stuff in the book. But the thing that was so cringy is there's this part, and they slipped it in, like it was total propaganda, and it basically said like, you don't actually think that people are running like child sex trafficking out of a DC pizza parlor, do
so
you?
They actually brought
they
that
literally
in the book.
Called it out as a direct psyop.
And that is totally the mainstream media bullshit that they're feeding us about it.
Yep.
Like, oh my God. And here they are trying to... Oh, that's funny. I haven't actually read the book, so it's good to talk to you about that.
Yeah, the funniest thing, and I'll actually, after this, I'll send you just a snip of that exact part, and you're gonna tear it apart, dude.
Oh, man.
Because it's like so bad. And it was like up until that point, I was like, all right, maybe Tom DeLonge doesn't know, like maybe he's just being like worked. And then I saw that, and I was like, oh my God, because it was like,
he is either, if he's being a useful idiot right now, he is one of the most useful, biggest idiots there is, or he knows he's just getting paid well, or whatever the case, and knowingly deceiving the public.
It's funny though, because when you know that they're deceiving, and then you read something like that, it actually kind of legitimizes it. You know what I mean? Because like, I know they're lying, and they're saying Pizzagate's not real. And then I'm like, wait, why are they literally covering for John Podesta? Like literally covering for John Podesta in his book. Like, why did they have to write that in? Like, it's permanently in that book, dude. And it was a good book. Like, so on the positive side though, and we'll wrap up the Tom DeLonge thing, but on the positive side of the book, there was some stunning disclosures that I was not expecting at all.
I've heard that those books go into...
But that's part of the limited hangout.
Right. I've heard that those books go into flying saucers being created by the Nazis and various stuff
and bases
like that.
in Antarctica. And one of the stunniest things that you won't hear probably anywhere else was they actually talk about how there's different types of extraterrestrials, which I was surprised. I'm slacking on the tea pouring, dude. I don't even know how to pour tea.
You need bigger cups.
I don't even know how to pour tea, dude. I just wanted to make a tea bar.
I just want to drink it out of this. Can I? It's hot. It's really hot. You're gonna feed me.
Maybe when it's cooler. No, but okay, so get this. So one of the things that really blew my mind, though, was not only were they revealing extraterrestrials, but they actually differentiated that there was positive and negative extraterrestrials, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting them to say,
they're all bad.
All extraterrestrials are bad. Be afraid. And there wasn't an element of that. But they did kind of bring in that there was positive extraterrestrials. And one of the quotes that was really fascinating is there's this, they take you back to like Argentina in like 1947, which is like right when the CIA was starting. And there was like a newly minted CIA officer, and he's going down to Argentina. He's capturing this Nazi basically and trying to interrogate him about the Bellcraft.
Yeah, there's a twist, because in the book, does it say that the CIA was filled with a bunch of Nazis via Operation Paperclip?
It doesn't.
You see, there's a few very important twists that they're not telling you there.
Exactly, because they like kind of tell you, but then they don't. And I want to say this too. They talk about Admiral Byrd's mission to Antarctica. But the key difference is if you look at William Tompkins, and you and I love William Tompkins than almost anybody. I'm like obsessed with William Tompkins, and you got to interview him, which I'm so jelly, but it's okay. But so in Antarctica, they tell the story of Antarctica, William Byrd's expedition, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's heard it before. But the key like divergence is William Tompkins says we went down there and we got our butt kicked, and then we like left like with a tail between our legs.
Did in Tom DeLonge's book, did it say that Byrd went down there and
won and destroyed them?
Oh, no way.
And they had just like a tiny little outpost, and we messed them up, and then we left.
I need to read these books.
Dude, so it was like, it's like they're just rewriting history, just...
Literally, they are literally trying to rewrite history. Whoever that ghostwriter was who wrote the books for Tom.
Yeah, right. A.J. Hartley.
He's just the face. Tom DeLonge is just the face. He's the punk rocker they're using to sell it to the mainstream, and they're having people produce shows for him, write books for him, just all this stuff, and he's getting basically hooked up with these guys and the CIA and all these 3 letters just to
I was stunned though that they revealed that that there's these giant international, like multinational corporation groups that don't pay any they don't care about any country.
Literally the definition of a partial disclosure of a limited hangout though. It's like the cabal exists, but no, John Podesta's not a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the Clintons, the Rockefellers aren't a part of it.
And they even talk about how they have infinite money, they're basically run out of London, and they're creating their own secret space program. That's in the book. I was like,
run out of London. How did they get that one?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought since Admiral Byrd, I guess, defeated the Nazis in Antarctica, it's not run out of Antarctica anymore.
Oh, well,
right?
actually, this
twist.
We'll segue out of Tom DeLonge.
This would be good.
And I want to bring in this. So have you ever heard of American Intelligence Media, AIM?
Frankly, yes. There's kind of
What do you think about them?
I'm not a fan.
Yeah?
I'll be honest.
Early on, down, all around.
Early on in the Q saga, there was can't quite remember the details because it was just so long ago, but they were trying to say Q was fake, blah blah blah. And I remember the specific videos they were doing and narratives they were trying to put out about it. I'm just like, either they're not that good of researchers or they have some special narrative they're trying to put out. I
think that they do have a lot of information, but then they add a lot of their own kind of opinion, and then they state it as fact, which is dangerous.
And it's not,
you know what I mean?
It's not, and I'm all for putting out opinions.
But they do have some really good information, and I wanted to highlight this because I hadn't seen any other researchers really talking about it. They're working with this guy, McKibben, who is... or maybe that's not his name. Anyway, he's the founder of Leader Technologies. And Leader Technologies is the guy who invented, it's basically the guy who invented the source code that is used by all social media. Like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like all of them. And his son was at Harvard with Mark Zuckerberg, and they claim to now have evidence that they hacked his computer and stole his source code, and that's what all social media is based off of, which is a crazy claim, because if it's true and they can prove it, then he can sue like the biggest companies in the world and like cripple them. And they're actually trying to hand the keys to all this to President Trump so that he can do it. But that's like a whole nother story. But the thing I wanted to bring up was the research that they're doing is about the British Privy Council, which almost nobody talks about. But
I'm not too familiar with
the Brits. Have basically, long story short, the Brits have completely and totally infiltrated the United States for a really long time. And everyone kind of is like, yeah, they're our allies, like they kind of get it. But once you realize to the extent at which they've infiltrated things, it's really, really crazy. So basically, the Queen's Privy Council, they take an oath to protect the Queen's business and not talk about it to anyone. And these are like the sirs and the lords and the knights and all this. And then if you look at like the highest levels of the United States Patent Office, every single patent that's filed goes through this company Serco before it even gets its classification. So basically what I'm saying is every single new invention has to go through a British company first and foremost.
Has to get checked off by the Queen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all being fed to them, which is incredible. So, and that's, I feel like this is really known in the intelligence communities. Like Q knows this, like anybody high up knows this. And that's why, Q and the other ones have been talking about how literally, are these our allies,
Yeah.
Like, and not just them, but what is it called? The Five Eyes, and one of the things, the last thing I want to say about that is like, one of the things they said that I feel like is really important is they talk about how it's actually completely unconstitutional for us to even be in the Five Eyes.
Yeah, it is. So essentially the Five Eyes is 5 countries: America, Canada, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. And there are laws in each country where the government can't spy on its own citizenry unless you, of course, get a court order, and et cetera, et cetera. But to bypass getting a court order, they set up this Five Eyes network. So say if an American agency wants to spy on an American, they'll have the UK do it, or they'll have maybe an Australian agent or alphabet agency do it. So that's how they circumvent the laws, which technically, though, is still highly illegal.
Totally.
They're not getting the proper warrants, et cetera, et cetera.
Totally.
And there's been so much abuse of what's called the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISA Act.
That's going to be big going
FISA
forward.
Court. And there's been so much abuse of it. Hundreds and hundreds of Americans, just over the past few years, if not more than that, have been illegally spied upon by some of the highest people in our government, ex-3-letter directors, even ex-presidents even. So
totally,
that's all going to come out.
Oh, and the other thing that they bring forward that's really important that you'll be hearing more and more about is this organization called Senior Executive Services.
Yeah, the SES. The SES is basically like this bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's just one organization of many that they use to
and so
stifle progress.
And it's one of the ways they've used, it's been like a proxy to get people super high security clearance without having to go through the military, which is like in some ways really bad, because you can have some president be like, oh, this is my friend.
Because you think of the CIA is not military. The CIA is a private civilian agency.
And they use the SES. Yeah, exactly. But so something got signed recently, I think it was this year, where they're changing, and it wasn't really noticed in the news very much, but they're changing all the security clearances have to go through the military again. And that's like them like flipping off the SES. Like,
yeah. And that's them, flipping off a lot of these ex-3-letter directors and a lot of these ex-individuals.
And they just think they're above the law forever. They're like, oh, it doesn't matter if I'm out of position. I'm SES. Like, I know they're and it's for the public to understand what this really is. You have to understand these people literally think they know stuff that's so important that they're untouchable.
Yeah,
that's like what a Hillary Clinton is. Like, why hasn't she been taken down yet? It's because she knows about SAPs, special access programs.
In their eyes, the ends justify the means, and the ends in their head is not even a good end. It's their own end, and then the means also they justify, even if it's messed up stuff they do. So
exactly, and it's going to be exciting to see all that. It's exciting to witness as all that starts to shift. And I know I speak for a lot of us when I say, like, we didn't really see this coming, like the whole Trump thing and like everything that's going on right now. Yeah, like him or hate him, but things are really changing, and I would say for the better. And whether or not you like Trump, whoever's listening out there, I'm not saying I'm like a diehard Trump supporter, but what I am is I love sovereignty and I love personal freedom.
Right. He's just, his personality rubs a lot of people the wrong way, which, I mean,
that's part of the point, though.
It's exactly, it is part of the point. That is literally the point. I mean, we unfortunately have been made into a society that's very apathetic, that tries to avoid drama, that we want to be politically correct.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how this is all. I mean, it just enables everything. If we continuously don't call out the bullshit,
it's like our silent consent,
right? And Trump comes in and shit, daddy's home.
He's like, I don't consent.
And a lot of these adults, a lot of these people out there who are not, too mentally or emotionally mature, we're still acting like children. They're just like, oh no, oh crap, this guy's here, and they're all upset and they can't handle it. And man, I get it. Trump might rub people the wrong way, but shoot, who else has number one, the money, the financial security, and the ability to go on a stage and turn around and say, you're gonna be in jail, Hillary Clinton, mic drop, so it's just
and look at all the media cameras and say, you're fake.
Exactly. So
it's really refreshing, honestly.
It truly is refreshing, and it's needed right now. I mean, imagine if we didn't have this. No other candidate is going to be able to have the balls, the cojones, the strength to go up and do that.
And I think he's going to win in 2020. It doesn't seem like there's really any chance of anybody else, because they're all kind of a joke, and everybody, even the mainstream is looking at it and going like, this is kind of bad. We got like Pete Buttigieg and like Elizabeth Pocahontas. I mean, oh man.
And then they're like having to roll out, I don't even know, there's how many candidates are there, like 80?
Yeah, there's like at least 20 like main candidates. And the funny thing is, like, they just like the last election, they probably could have won if they just went with Bernie, but no.
Well, honestly, what I think's really changed in the last, 3 years, beginning with the 2016 election, is I don't think the powers in control, or the powers that were in control, the deep state, I don't think they can fiddle with the elections anymore like they used to. 30, 40, 50 years, how many elections did we have? Which, come on, they were rigged.
Totally.
They were rigged.
Totally.
Before electronic voting machines, how easy would it be to do? Just say, with the ballots weren't what they
Bush,
were.
2001, right?
Yeah, and then advent of electronic voting machines.
Bush 2000.
They just own the corporations that make the voting machines.
Yeah.
Insert, how much, I think George Soros has a lot of money.
And Romney, too.
Yeah, or investments in companies that
do the voting machines.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, but come 2016, the good patriots within the three-letter agencies in the government are being able to stifle the ability for the deep state to hack the voting systems and rig it all.
It's going to be interesting when we look back at everything and see what they actually did.
You're right.
To make that were relevant.
It's gonna
how did they cancel it out?
It's going to be interesting in 10, 20, 30 years to look back and see what information that they sanitize so much of that we're like, we know they're crooks, it's all public now, but there's stuff missing that they bleach bitted or they burnt, and all that evidence is gone. So there might even be stuff that we'll never find out.
Totally.
Some dark stuff that maybe it's better we don't find out. But
well, I've been saying that I put my profile public many years ago when I realized the NSA was watching everything. I'm like, what's the point in hiding, dude?
I'm not scared anymore.
What's the point in even hiding? But then now, I've got I feel like I got a more enlightened perspective on the whole thing. I think you'll really like this, which is if you look back at prehistory, before there was writing and books and ways of recording, and they say that's the prehistory, we don't have any records, blah 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 blah. And then the book comes out, and then there's a printing press, and then all of a sudden all this information spreading all. Oh, that's nice.
Just fiddling with this table, man. This table is epic. I'm obsessed with your laser cutting you did.
Yeah, it's really nice. We'll have to. Well, people will see it more and more. He's putting the crystals in the table.
Just messing with it.
We just made this table, but that's a whole other subject. It took us a couple weeks to make it, and I'm really proud of it.
Should be.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is phase 1, Cosmic Embassy tea table. But this was the concept, dude. You're literally part of. This was all concept, and now it's happening, which is great. I think it's a great thing that's happening. But so I want to move on to. We won't go too much longer because it's fucking windy out.
Yeah, it's windy. And it's really bright in this tent.
It's so
I'm
bright.
Squinting
I know.
at you
I know.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just it's bright, squinting.
I know it's not the best time of day, but it's okay. We're getting it done. So the last thing we'll talk about real quick is I want to talk about. Let's get more into the alien, the spiritual.
Yeah, well, this is Cosmic Embassy.
This is the Cosmic Embassy.
A lot of people don't like to get political, but I mean, it all connects. It all connects. And,
totally.
And amazingly enough, when you look at the QAnon drops, they've touched on extraterrestrials. They said, yeah, secret space programs are real, UFOs are real, extraterrestrial intelligence is basically out there, and this is a very important topic that a lot of politicians, a lot of high-level military people take absolutely seriously. So
absolutely,
we better take it seriously.
Absolutely,
and I'm not afraid to get political like many others are because you kind of have to. But anyway,
well,
let's get into
once the truth
ETs.
once the truth opens up. You realize that all of it really is connected,
right? I could give two shits about Republicans or Democrats or any of that. It's not about that. To me, it's just about truth. If some political figure comes in, I don't care what fancy letters by their name, as long as they're coming in and making a good difference.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Yep.
Funny enough, wasn't Donald Trump a Democrat in his past?
Yeah, he was.
Wasn't General Michael Flynn a registered Democrat?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, they saw Hillary Clinton was supposed to be the 2016 winner.
They're like,
they just
nope.
I guess we gotta do it. We gotta be Republicans, I guess, to do this. So that's just kind of how it went. If they were Democrats and Hillary Clinton happened to be a Republican, then I would not really care what the Republican Democrat was.
Well, the last thing we'll say about that is it just really is interesting from a historical perspective if you look at what happened with Michael Flynn and General Rogers coming into Trump Tower and going under the nose of his superiors to tell Trump something, and then they try to fire him. What happened in that meeting? I won't even get into it, but in the history books, I know it will be important.
And you look at all the places that General Michael Flynn was, in Haiti during the earthquake, in the Middle East during basically Al Qaeda.
He's seen it all.
Over there. He's seen it all.
He's seen it all.
Number 1, he used to be the director of the DIA. Number 2 with the CIA.
And DIA is super connected to the secret space program.
Yeah, DIA is connected to all sorts of stuff. So I can only imagine what he's seen and heard. So
all right. So this is the concept I'll lay down, and you're gonna love this. So
hit me.
Men in Black is real. Okay. And not only is it real, but we're talking with and working with insiders literally who have been on capture and interrogate programs where they're literally sitting in the atmosphere waiting to intercept these beings,
or
right?
like John D'Souza working for the FBI, and they're putting him on paranormal cases. Crazy paranormal cases for the FBI,
and then
all sorts of stuff.
Exactly. So we have, and that's like part of the investigative branch. And then we have people like Emery Smith, who talks about how he was part of a crash retrieval team. You know what I mean? In great detail, like something crashes, I'm a part of a team, we go out, we analyze it, we use all this technology to analyze it, and we make sure that no contaminants are spread. And that's really key, because I rewatched the first part, and I haven't finished this thing, but I was starting to do like a Men in Black series, and it's really fun because, bro, I would actually love to sit down and watch Men in Black with you and just record like our thoughts about it,
like reaction.
Because it's like great, dude. I watched the first scene. Just get this, the first scene, Men in Black, 1999 or 1998. I was like 8 years old. By the way, we were born in the same year, and I didn't realize
90?
that until
Badass.
I didn't realize that until you did your presentation.
Month?
I'm January.
Aquarius.
Capricorn.
Yeah. I'm still learning.
But we were on the same
Scorpio
wave.
Here.
That's why we vibe so good.
I dig it.
I didn't even realize that till yesterday. Anyway, so all right, the first scene, and we can even end it with this. We'll talk about this and then we'll end it. The first scene of Men in Black, bro. Get this. There's illegal aliens coming from Mexico in a fucking van, dude, and they're trying to cross the border.
Yeah.
Right? And think about how funny this is for the times we're in right now with all this stuff with the wall and the immigration, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, there's these illegal immigrants.
What's funny is that back in like 2009 or 10 for Halloween is that I was an illegal alien, and I had a sombrero and maracas, and then I had a green alien mask on.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
You mean like an alien and an alien?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the point.
Exactly. That's so funny that you bring that up for Men in Black.
All right, so the beginning scene of Men in Black is literally these illegal aliens are trying to cross the border. Border Patrol stops them and like pulls them all out. You know, they're all lined up like, oh, we got caught. Dang, they're all sad. And then the Men in Black come up and they're like, move aside, boys, we're gonna take this over. And they start going to each one of the Mexicans and speaking Spanish to them, and they're all like, yeah, speaking Spanish to them. And then they go up to this one guy and they're like, ¿Qué pasa? Or no, he actually says like, you're ugly, like in Spanish. And the alien's just like,
didn't know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah, he didn't know how to speak Spanish.
That's how they could tell he's an alien.
Yeah, and then so they grab him, they take him over. And then long story short,
the alien tries to eat him.
The alien freaks out. They blow him up, and this is the key part. They blow him up, and there's alien goo everywhere. What happens is immediately a decontamination team shows up and starts like triaging the area and like blow torching everything, and like
it's a crash retrieval team. And there's actually good evidence. I've been reading Dr. Michael Sala's book, his recent Air Force one, his most recent one, and he goes into some good evidence there in a couple chapters. How there's most likely crash retrieval teams that have been in existence since back in like the 50s.
Totally.
There's been crashes, 40s, 50s, multiple crashes, not just Roswell in this country and not just this country, but worldwide, you know.
Totally.
We had the Battle of Los Angeles incident in 1942 over LA.
Totally.
I believe 2 craft actually crashed from that one. The Army got one, the Navy got one. There was another crash. You know, of course, Roswell happened. There's a couple other crashes too. I can't remember quite right now. And internationally too. I mean, Italy. I mean, this is common stuff. It just doesn't seem common.
Totally.
Because, of course,
and the crazy thing is like, I guess I try to like simplify all this because I'm talking to people who don't know anything most of the time. You know what I mean? And the simple way I say it is like, if aliens are real, we would have to have certain systems to deal with them. Like if they're real and we know about it in secret, we'd have to have certain systems to deal with it.
Right.
And so we have like, basically we just say we have an ICE for aliens. We have an immigration customs enforcement agency for aliens. And then we also have like, what do you call when you go to an airport and they like check what you got? Like going
like a TSA.
Yeah.
Like you're not coming into, you know, this atmosphere on this planet if you have some sort of alien plant that's gonna take
do you have
over
any
and
fruit?
shit.
Do you have any fruit with
no
you?
No fruit. Check your bags.
Exactly. And then you got to put them through the decontamination or whatever. But yeah, so ET crash retrieval, Men in Black, capture and interrogate.
Dude, in movies there's so much truth. And speaking of Will Smith and another alien movie, funny how in the 90s Will Smith, like the biggest star, biggest movie star, is tasked to do all these alien movies, right? And Independence Day.
Oh my
God!
God.
Independence Day.
I forgot about
how they're
that
talking
one.
about the missing money in there.
Dude.
They bring the president down to Area 51. He's like, wow, how do we get the money for all this stuff? And one of the supporting characters says, you don't think they charge $40,000 for a toilet seat, do you? Right there in 1995, telling the public.
Because the contractors, they like put out this exorbitant prices for small things.
They say that screws cost $50 and a coffee cup cost $1,300. Actually, there was a news article that was released late last year.
It was like a 10 grand coffee cup or something, right?
The Air Force was charging nearly $1,400 for a metal. It was just like a metal French press. Cup. Yeah, a metal French press.
And where we're getting at with that is they're not using that money for that.
The rest of the money,
they're cooking the books,
right? The $5 coffee cup, and then the rest of the money goes into secret corporate programs, mainly the corporations.
They're cooking the books.
Yeah, it's not really the military. The military itself doesn't really get the best stuff. That's been kept secret in the corporations.
It's the interplanetary corporate conglomerate.
Yeah, you can hide stuff a lot better in a corporation than you can in the government because of FOIA. Corporations can't get FOIA.
Oh,
the government
really?
can, yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
That's why they keep a lot of this information more so in the corporations.
Interesting. That's exactly why the most advanced stuff is corporate.
Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, TRW, all these different corporations.
Wow.
And then it's so compartmentalized too. You could have one guy working in Raytheon on rockets and stuff and has no idea that anti-gravity exists, and you could have another guy working down the hall in a secret think tank that's working on anti-gravity drives and stuff. So it's so compartmentalized. It has been very easy for them to keep this all secret, but
until now, because of stuff like this,
until the internet, until people taking it on themselves to become citizen journalists,
exactly,
and do videos and podcasts,
and that's the most beautiful thing about this is like the best way we can express this is like just think about there's all these compartmentalizations. Nobody's allowed to know anything, but then something leaks out to the public, and then all of a sudden somebody in a compartmentalized program's listening to Jordan Sather on Cosmic Embassy podcast.
They're like, holy
and they're
shit,
like,
this is going on in Raytheon? Like what? Or Lockheed?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then that starts to break down those compartments naturally. And I think that's one of the big reasons why Corey Good's getting so much hate is because he has just single-handedly destroyed so much of the compartmentalization.
Right. And William Tompkins too. So
and Tompkins too. Yeah.
So all it takes is one small little leak, one person to say one thing, and that can change a lot.
And it's like and I think this is about a good place to end. It's like there's this giant dam, right? But on the other side of the dam is not water. It's like infinite energy, and it's like spiritual understanding, and it's like our star family, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like this vast wealth. And it used to be like a leak would happen, and they'd kill that person, or they'd buy that person off, or they'd patch up the leak, you know what I'm saying? But now there's so many leaks that it's
whack-a-mole in the deep state. Can't whack all the moles.
Can't whack them all.
Too many moles popping up, man. Yeah. Truly. They can't censor us all.
Yep. Exciting time to be alive.
Thank you, my man.
I think that's a perfect place to end it.
Let's do this again at DOD.
Definitely.
Let's do this again next month.
Yeah, we'll see you all at Dimensions of Disclosure. And thanks for doing the first podcast with me, bro.
First one. Cheers.
Cheers. Maybe I'll learn how to serve tea soon.
This is a self-service cafe.
I had to start with the table first.
You're not getting a tip on this one.
I don't even have a tip jar.
Oh, you need a tip jar.
We should laser cut one.
You should do a tip jar and just have the crystals in the tip jar.
Oh yeah, you want me to laser cut you Destroying the Illusion?
Yes.
We can put it behind you.
Yes.
In the video.
That'd be dope. I'll hang it in the garage.
So you have to give me like a I'll talk to you.
Okay.
I need a certain type of file, and then I can do it. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Cosmic Embassy Podcast number 1 with Jordan Sather. Destroying the Illusion is your website.
JordanSather.com is the website. Just my name, JordanSather.com, but Destroying the Illusion on YouTube.
And Twitter. And he's actually Jordan Sather on Twitter mainly, right?
Yeah.
Go find Jordan. Subscribe to the Cosmic Embassy Podcast and also YouTube, and we'll be blasting it out. We've got a ton of amazing people coming up. We're going to have Rob and Ben on later.
Nice.
Dope. We're going to have Tyler and Aaron on too.
Badass.
Which is great because I was on their podcast and now it's like flipped.
Nice.
Like, you come to my podcast.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to see where you take Cosmic Embassy. This is amazing.
Thanks, brother. Let's get a hug on camera.
All right. Which way are you going?
Hard time.
Love you, bro. So much love coming from this guy.
Woo!